I will call tonight's meeting of the Zoning Board of Appeals to order. May we have the roll call, please?
Mr. Armstrong,
Here.
Ms. Chester, Ms. McLaughlin,
Here.
Ms. Utman,
Here.
Mr. Warmbrod,
Here.
and Mr. Welch.
Here.
And we do have a quorum. Are there any changes to tonight's agenda?
No changes.
And if I'll ask the board to review the minutes from our last meeting from November 19th. And I will entertain an motion. Yes. We have a second?
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, they're accepted as approved. Any written communications?
Yes, the Planning Division Secretary has passed out the Urbana Zoning Board of Appeals 2015 schedule of meetings. So you can mark your calendar. It's the same meeting night, third Wednesday of every month.
All right, thank you very much. Do we have any continued public hearings? No. All right. This is the time when we swear in anybody in the audience who wishes to present any information before the board. So anyone who's interested in participating, please rise and raise your right hand. Do you swear that the testimony you are about to give this evening is truthful and accurate to the best of your ability? Okay, thank you. We have one case this evening, and it's case number ZBA 2014-C-06, a request by Kevin Modglin on behalf of the Champaign-Urbana Mass Transit District for a conditional use permit to allow a temporary secondary principal use of a motor bus station on a single lot at 1207 East University Avenue. And may we have the staff report, please?
Okay, this is excuse me. It's a request for a conditional use permit for 1207 East University. It's a lot owned by Mid-Illinois Concrete, which is a local construction firm. It's currently used as a construction yard. Located nearby, you'll also see the headquarters for MTD. They are currently doing renovations to a barn that houses rural transit vehicles, and so they need a temporary space for these vehicles. They have contracted with Mid-Illinois Concrete to lease out roughly 15,000 square feet on the northeast corner of the lot. They would like to use that as a second principal use as a motor bus station, in addition to the lot continuing to be used as a construction yard by Mid-Illinois Concrete. The zoning ordinance states that for a second principal use, a conditional use permit is required. So with that application, a brief description of the area. To the north is a park, which is zoned conservation and or CRA, conservation, recreation, etc. The surrounding lots are also zoned industrial. One to the west, you will see a recycling center. Beyond that is zone B3. That's MTD's offices. Immediately to the east, there is another industrial property, zoned light industrial, light commercial, which is used also as a construction yard. And there's some further there's a manufacturing facility to the northeast, and there's some further industrial properties to the east after that. To the south is a railroad. Beyond that, you have some mix of business properties and residential homes, another unused industrial property, and I believe a house belonging to a woman's shelter directly south below that. So in regards to the function as a motor bus station, The fleet would be about 22 vehicles, also for a mobile office to be installed, a trailer that has sanitary, sewer, and electrical connections. But these transit vehicles help, they administer state and federal grants for rural transit for residents throughout the county, and actually somewhat beyond Champaign County as well, who need to be within reach of some part of the urban core, but their place of residence is outside of MTD's area of operations. So it's it's a curb to curb service. It picks someone up and it drops them off. It's kind of performing a public service for people in rural areas who are unable to drive but are also outside the reach of MTD. The hours of operation for the vehicles in this fleet would mostly be through a little longer than a business day, early in the morning and late in the evening, but not in the hours through the evening per se. The exception would be on weekends. There would be several vehicles helping out through the evening hours then. But when I talked with MTD, I asked for a typical estimate of how many vehicles might be dispersed at one point, how many vehicles departing and arriving at the site there would be. At any one point, there might be, for one shift per se, there are about 10 to 13 vehicles out, with each one making one departure and arrival per shift. So it's not vehicles that are constantly entering and exiting, throughout the day. If a vehicle leaves, it usually stays out for the shift and then returns for the end of its shift. So the application is for temporary use permit, a conditional use permit, while the MTD renovates their barn, 2 properties to the east. It's a permit for 18 to 24 months, so about 2 years or so. The current use of the property, you'll see on the site plan. Scroll down to that. Is mainly used for storing trailers as it is, for parking vehicles and storing trailers as well. I forgot to mention what the future zoned use of the land is. Most of it stays the same, as an industrial corridor. Through industrial to the northeast and to the south. Not much change, with the railroad tracks acting as kind of a border between those areas. But that stays the same. For the current site, there is a trailer already on the site, as according to the site plan. I understand that was kind of between a misunderstanding between when it was dropped off, but it is at least compliant with the plan that was submitted. And the staff recommendation is for approval of the plan. We find that the traffic of vehicles departing and arriving at the site would not be too unlike what typically arrives there for a construction yard. It's a temporary permit as well. It helps a public entity continue, a service that it performs, and it's a convenient use for the entity, as well as consistent with the use of that corridor. University Avenue is a main arterial that handles lots of traffic for those industrial properties that are also neighboring to the subject property, and it's close to I-70. It provides quick access to the county highway system and the roads within the county and the surrounding area. So it would not be an inappropriate placement of those vehicles. So are there any questions?
Are there any questions for staff? Okay.
I should also mention that we have a representative from Mid-Illinois Concrete, the property owner, Kevin Modlin, the official applicant. We also have a representative from MTD to answer any questions, since they would be the primary users of the space. But if you don't have any questions, that's fine. So.
Would the petitioner like to say anything about the project for the board? You don't have to, but if you please come to the table in the center and please sign your name.
I'd just like to say my name's Kevin Modulin. I am one of the property owners, and just that, the MTD kind of approached us and asked if that space would be available, and as we talked, it's a convenient location for them, and it's a space that we utilize for trailer storage now, but we can live without that space in the meantime. So hopefully, it's a win-win situation for everybody.
Thank you. Any questions? All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I will entertain a motion. Yes.
A neighbor had come in to express the concerns I played out, or I wrote in the report, and I wrote that for due diligence. The gentleman said he would be at this hearing, but we mailed him the information, as soon as we were able to make it available. But I do not see him here. I also checked with MTD and within our own department to see if there had been any formally documented complaints or concerns expressed about the existing use or proposed use. I was not able to find any. So.
And what is his concern?
He had concerns about existing noise pollution and light pollution from adding that use to the site, and he had expressed. He alleged that MTD employees were parking in the residential neighborhood to the south of the railroad tracks, which I checked with them. I couldn't find any complaints about that or anything to verify that, but he had expressed that employee parking of disrupting function of the neighborhood during winter and snow plowing, but so I gave him the appropriate time and meeting of. He received he's a property owner just to the right adjacent to the railroad tracks, and he received a notice of the radius within the property that we always do. So those were his concerns, but
South of the railroad?
just south of the railroad, directly adjacent to it.
Does the use, having vehicles on this lot, require any kind of fencing to prevent light going into the neighbor's property or anything like that?
The property already contains the required screening and fencing.
It does, okay. That's all.
Can I make a motion?
Yes.
I move that we approve the proposed conditional use in case ZBA 2014-C-06, subject to the 4 conditions listed in the memo.
I'll second that.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Do we have a discussion? All right. May we have the roll call?
Ms. Chester?
Yes.
Ms. McLaughlin?
Yes.
Ms. Utman?
Yes.
Mr. Warmbrad?
Yes.
Mr. Welch?
Yes.
And Mr. Armstrong?
Yes. So that's approved unanimously. I think we have one other order of business, and that has to do with our bylaws.
Yes, sir. These were presented at our last zoning board meeting, and there were no changes. So the board is now able to vote on the proposed bylaws.
Is there any discussion of the bylaws as written? I think, just for clarification, the major change to the bylaws appears on page 4 in the underlined portion.
That's correct.
Have any comments about that or concerns? I'll entertain a motion.
I'll move that we adopt the rules of procedure for the Zoning Board of Appeals dated 11/19/2014 bylaws.
I'll second that.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion about the motion? Okay, may we have a roll call?
Ms. McLaughlin,
Yes?
Ms. Utman,
Yes.
Mr. Wurmbrand,
Yes.
Mr. Welch,
Yes.
Mr. Armstrong,
Yes. So.
Ms. Chester.
Sorry. The bylaws are approved unanimously. And any new business?
Nope.
Any audience participation? And is there a staff report?
Just a quick update on ZBA case 2014 MAJ06. It was approved by City Council earlier in the month, and per council's direction, staff is working with Carl Hospital to see if there's something we can do for a better overall wayfinding for their campus.
Good. And do we have a study session this evening? No. Okay. Then I move that we adjourn.